Bob Hinchin. I'm with Extinction Rebellion Houston, which is part of an international Extinction Rebellion movement, which is trying to prevent the worst case of climate effects in the time that we have left. So we take the climate situation very seriously and are involved in direct action all over the world. In Houston, we're pairing up with Earth Uprising today, and there are also folks from Sunrise and various other groups out here today. And the purpose today is to let people know that a company who has a headquarters here, Enbridge, is engaged in trying to get a permit to expand a facility in Corpus Christi area, which would take over a major part of an archaeological site that's very important to all of us, and especially to the Karankawa people. And they have a lawsuit in court right now to try to prevent this. So we're out here saying that Enbridge should withdraw their request for that permit and do not violate the rights of these indigenous people. That's the main message today. The other part of the message is fossil fuel development has to end. The International Energy Agency has said that if we want to make the goals of keeping it a livable temperature, we have to stop all new fossil fuel development. And these companies like Enbridge, major pipeline companies, and the major oil companies are going right on, making it impossible for us to achieve a livable planet for our children and our children's children. So we have to be out here to tell people they are not getting the message yet, and we need to tell Enbridge that their name is going to go down in history, along with Exxon and other companies, as the perpetrators.
My name is Gina Beekman. Extinction Rebellion is important, and I was drawn to it because climate change is causing a crisis. In fact, if we do nothing about it, it will cause our extinction. It's already causing the extinction of many animals and plants around the world. We have to do something about it. I'm just very happy that there are a lot of young people here. I'm glad the young people are getting involved, and I want them to have a good world like I lived in. I want them to be able to have a full life like I have.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Enbridge has got to go!
My name is Fuad. I'm with Students for Justice in Palestine at the University of Houston and the Palestinian Youth Movement. There are little different sectors, but ultimately the same goal. The Palestinian Youth Movement is a grassroots organization of Palestinian youth rebuilding power for our liberation struggle. And Students for Justice in Palestine is a solidarity organization based on University of Houston's campus, but it's one of over 100 chapters across the US and Canada that aims to build power and consciousness for Palestine freedom on campus. So we do educational events, we run grassroots campaigns, and we really try to reclaim the narrative for Palestine liberation at UH. As a Palestinian myself and as someone who organizes for Palestine liberation, we see the disastrous impact of settler colonization on our land in Palestine as we see it on the indigenous Karankawa land that we have the honor of organizing on here today. Israel routinely demolishes homes, destroys farmland, destroys olive trees that are 1,000 years old because Israel is a settler state with no connection to the land. So from Palestine to the indigenous Karankawa land, we see the connections of how colonization tries to erase us and displace us by destroying our land, destroying our rituals, destroying our ability to walk and roam freely on our indigenous land. And similarly, we see that in order to combat our respective oppressions and our respective displacement, we have to join together as indigenous people from occupied Turtle Island to occupied Palestine to target the systems which displace us, which are colonialism, imperialism, and capitalism. I reaffirm our unwavering solidarity with the Karankawa people as they continue their struggle against oil expansion, oil pipelines, and as the Palestinian Youth Movement and Students for Justice in Palestine, we stand in solidarity with struggling peoples across the globe. Until liberation and return.
representing Texas Campaign for the Environment. We focus on grassroots environmental issues all across the state, bringing truth to power and raising people's voices in order to protect the environment. All across Texas, we're seeing really greedy companies working to expand their profit margins by making expansions on things like oil export terminals, increased dredging. Today we're out representing the Karankawa people, natives of Texas, asking Enbridge and forcing them to stop their expansion in order to protect that sacred land. These fights are important because they absolutely affect people on the local level, and everybody needs to make sure that we're sticking up for people whose voices are marginalized and aren't always able to speak up for themselves in a lot of these situations. And a lot of these companies actually profited billions of dollars during Winter Storm Uri last year at the expense of Texans. We need to stand up to them, tell them that it's not right, and make sure that we're pushing back against these harmful business practices.
Urreta, and I'm with Uprising Houston.
Could you tell me a little bit about your organization?
Yes, so Uprising Houston is a chapter of Uprising, and what we do is we try to use education, both based in science and social justice, to help combat the climate crisis through an entirely youth-led movement. I saw from a lot of Karankawa people on social media that this expansion was happening, and then I read up a little bit about it and saw that it was not only just immoral because it was just destroying so much, but also illegal. And I think it's a responsibility as people. I mean, Houston is on Karankawa land, and as people who are on this land, it should be our responsibility to speak out and say that this is wrong, that we should respect the original stewards of the land. I think it's important to get young people involved, one, because it's our generation that's going to bear the brunt of climate change if nothing is done, and plus, like, we're still part of the world no matter our age, and it's our responsibility to see if there's something wrong with what's happening in our city or the world or our country, that we should act on it. Our age is actually something that empowers us because we're young, we have new ideas.
How old are you, if you wouldn't mind?
I'm 17. I am not indigenous myself. I'm actually first generation American. So that stark difference is actually something that also pushed me to do this, because it's bringing all kinds of Houstonians together, from the people who have lived here on this land for thousands of years to the people who just came. You know, it's just a whole idea of unity for planet and for people. I never thought it was going to be this big, and you know, it's impressive to see how many people care and how many people can listen, and I don't know, it's just incredible. And, you know, this was organized while I was doing schoolwork, and I was on several different calls, different texts and DMs with members of the Karankawa Nation, as well as other organizations. So, you know, seeing all these people and seeing like the fruits of this hard work, it's something absolutely incredible, and like kind of bonds that you see between people. Like, people that have just met each other an hour ago and they're like together like siblings. It's incredible.
Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Oh, oh! Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Oh, oh! Enbridge has got to go! Hey, hey! Oh, oh! Enbridge has got to go!
Yeah! Oh my god, that was really pretty.
That was a moment.
Hey, hey!